Danielle Russell. When I started this film, President Obama was only a candidate for president, and the event fired up conversations about the civil rights era between me and my mom. Conversations about this time are scarce in my family and are only initiated by hard questions or horrible television images. I was surprised to find out my parents and my aunt and uncle participated in a more recent protest in 1987 in a city called Cumming, Georgia, located just 20 miles away from Atlanta, my hometown.
Ancient oral Black traditions are the passing down of history in an oral sense, where you get your tradition and history, fabric of your culture, passed down through the generation. Things are changing, and I think that's one of the generational differences between me and my 11-year-old granddaughter. I mean, some of the things that I see, she doesn't see and doesn't relate to, can't relate to, because America is a different place now. The history of Forsyth County, and I think it was somewhere in the 20s, there was basically an ejection of all Black folks within Forsyth County. Forsyth County was populated just like any other county in Georgia. You had a lot of Black people who were farmers, and basically they ran off their land. We fast forward to 1986 or 87, when the march takes place. There are no Black people living in Forsyth County, and you can trace that back to the exodus of the 20s. That's when all that happened.
On January 17, 1987, civil rights activist Hosea Williams led a march in Forsyth County to celebrate the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. 4 marchers were hospitalized after being pelted by stones and bottles. Undeterred, Williams and over 20,000 marchers, including my family members, returned the following week for a second march, the largest civil rights demonstration since the 60s. Can you tell me about the time you went to march in Forsyth?
I can tell you that's the first time I ever saw a Ku Klux Klan dressed out and not on TV.
How did that make you feel?
Like you were seeing it on TV. But it was all the colors, all the garb, all the crosses.
You know, you never told me about that before.
Well, you know, I guess stuff happened, you just forget.
Oral traditions have nearly disappeared, and a silence culture has emerged in the Black community. In my own family, there is a generational gap of non-communication, and now in my adulthood, I realize I know nothing of my family's legacy. I can't imagine how it would be to grow up during the 50s. I can't imagine how it would be to grow up during the 30s before that, and to actually know people who have been lynched. So I can't relate to how, you know, my aunts and my mother are feeling. It's just really saddening, because I feel like I'm being excluded from something that is like my birthright to know about. And I honestly just don't understand why it's so hard to talk about some things.
Warnings of arrest, threats of jail terms, and violence all fail to put out what burns in the hearts and minds of the youngsters.
I don't think any part of our existence in America is irrelevant. In my opinion, it's all important. Right. It's all relevant, and it has a place. Now, the problem is how we choose to recognize it and what we choose to do with it. That's the problem, but it's all relevant.
As an adult, I understand why my parents didn't take me with them to march in Forsyth. I wouldn't subject my own daughter to such a volatile situation, but I'm sure I would at least talk to her about it. Will you ever tell your son or your grandchildren about the March in Forsyth?
Probably not. I mean, if it should come up in conversation, we have pictures. If they're looking at the scrapbook one day, we might discuss it, but it wasn't that significant of an event for me.
I didn't tell my children about the participation because I felt like it would hurt them more or less than help them. I saw people's, just like hatred was just all in them,
Can you describe it?
It was just a thing, it's undescribable. It was just hatred. That's all you can see, just hatred.
Could you feel it?
Yes, I can feel it.
How did it feel like?
Oh, it just felt like something just run all through you. You just can't explain it.
Getting off the bus and just hearing the crowd of people chanting, go home, nigga, go home, we don't want you here, and being face to face with racism. I mean, just vile, unadulterated, uncut, raw. If the police wasn't here, we'd probably be shooting at you. That kind of racism. I felt empowered to participate in the march. I felt it was part of my duty to participate in that march because of our history, our struggle, and being from Georgia, being from the Atlanta area, knowing the history of Forsyth County, it was very important for me to send a strong message to people in Forsyth County that it's a new day, it's a new time, and Jim Crow will never survive ever again. No way.
It was a couple of days before the inauguration of the first African-American president. What I thought when I heard it was, given the history of Forsyth County, I said to myself, I don't think there are any black people living in Forsyth County. I don't think there are any African-Americans living in Forsyth County. So, on the one hand, I was discouraged that things had not really changed so much. But on the other hand, when I heard the full story, I was encouraged because here you have Anglo-Americans supporting an African-American president. So in a sense, things have stayed the same, but things have also changed. Will we ever have 100% racial reconciliation? I don't know, because people will always be possessed by those demons. But if we can begin to teach our children and begin to show our children that race is not the utmost thing to us, that we all are human, then I think things will begin to change.
Today, President Obama has become a worldwide phenomenon and has called for awareness, volunteerism, and activism in one's own community. This is my way of starting with mine. There is still much to do.
Reminiscing of Harriet Tubman in the beginning, through wishes, elements, and seeing stars spinning, moonlit and expedition into the president's of what it should have been from the giddy up. I'm sitting up in the attic and Frank would have had it within their mattress, and the fabric of it all found to be plastic. A classic example, false actions when they trample and sample new songs from 2 months ago. And I'm asking, yo, where did it go? Party people sitting underneath the steeple, concealing a lethal feeling for stealing and killing, just to be equal by any means. means, but the premise has changed. Need to rearrange it. Sure as heroin travel Ray Charles' veins. Men complaining about the